Alright, we're out here again on the river. Boy, the seasons are changing. I guess it's meteorological. Well, we're out here on the river again, and the seasons are certainly changing. I guess it really is meteorological. I guess it's meteorological. I guess it's changing seasons. Anyway. So we're out here again. A cold front has just come through. The air temperature has dropped. It's only 67 today, and the water temperature is down at 71. I was out here the other day. It was 75. So the water cool down has certainly taken effect. Now, Chase mentions a number of things in his article, and I hope that you've taken the time to read it, either online or in the next issue of the National Spoon Plugger. But one thing he does talk about is shallow running in a river and how you've got to be careful on where you're at. Now, one of the nice things to have is an electric tilt on your motor. So in just an instant, I can bring my motor up and put it down. So if you're going to fish rivers, this is one tip that I would utilize. Get yourself power trim, because man, you can just pull that baby up and down when you see that you're running too shallow. But it might save you from banging up your lower unit. It might save you from spending money on repairing your propellers. So just a thought to keep in mind. All right, I'm coming to a part of the river that is relatively shallow, and it has been productive for me. I've caught quite a few fish here, but I want to make sure that I'm running the lures exactly where I want them to be. Now, I could go along and press a button here and set waypoints, come back and follow the track. But believe it or not, no matter what they tell you, okay, it's not always accurate. So I'm going to use markers, and I'm going to throw markers out in the shallow portion of where I'm going to be trolling to make sure that my passes are right on the money, see if they produce. So here we go. I'm not running a lure. All I'm going to be doing is throwing out the markers. All right, I've thrown out 4 markers. They give me a visual. I can actually see them on the water. They give me a visual of where to keep my boat, where to run my lures. If I go too far over to either side, I'm going to run into shallow water. But now I've got a visual. And because I've got that visual, I can also set up rifle sights or sight lines. So let's run the lures now and see how that works. Now I'm going to run these markers again, but I want you to understand that these markers provide a visual aid to where I want to present my lure. Not only that, they give me a mental picture of what the bottom of the river looks like. On the far side of the markers is real shallow water. On the other side of the markers is real shallow water. I could actually use two sets to keep me in place. But the markers serve to underscore what that structure looks like that I'm fishing. And once I understand what it looks like, I can fish it correctly, and I can understand how the fish are using it, and I can apply it to other situations, other structure situations that I find on this river. So let's run it again. And this time we're going to run it from the opposite direction. That was just a fish there. Got off. Another fish got off. Now I've gone back to anchor in the area where those fish hit, and I know exactly where they hit because I had my markers out. So I'm going to do a little bit of casting and see if there's any active fish around. Yeah, like that fish right there. Right there. I got a nice one. Let's see what we got there, yeah. Look at that. at that. A very nice smallie. I've got a marker right here. That's how you do it. That's how you use markers. Well, I've thrown the spoon plug. I'm going to throw a jump bait now. Got him. Oh, got off. Ooh, okay. Now I did hit a fish in relationship to the second marker also. So I just simply drifted a little bit down the river, and I'm going to see if there's anything around here that's active. Well, today I've given you an example of how to use markers and what they're used for. And after you've set out your markers and you've made your passes, the next thing that you're going to do is draw a map of the structure situation. All right? Buck says that mapping is the key to interpretation. In this case, I have a narrow slot running through a shallow area, and it runs from the northeast to the southwest. And since I'm on a river, what could that slot possibly represent? Well, you've probably come up with the answer. It's the river channel. Now, it isn't very deep, but it is the deepest water in the area, and that's why I'm catching fish here. These fish, the deepest water, they're in there, they're coming up onto the shallower areas adjacent to the deep water, and I'm catching them on the top, and I'm also catching them in the channel. So my interpretation: the river flows north to south, it comes into this area, it hits a bank, it turns, it creates a bar, it runs across and butts up against this shoreline. So first it hits the eastern shoreline, and then it comes across and it hits the western shoreline. One of the reasons I'm able to interpret that is because I put out the markers. Markers serve a number of purposes. They show a visual. I can actually see how the channel runs. Based on that, I can establish sight lines or rifle sights to run that channel without always having to throw out the markers. I can run it upriver. I can run it downriver because I've established sight lines. When I hit a fish, if you notice off the first marker I hit a couple of fish, I lost them, but I went back and anchored and I cast. I knew where I hit those fish because of the use of markers. Now, experienced spoon pluggers utilize markers as much as possible. Sometimes you can't use them due to the circumstances. There's nobody out here today, nobody to interfere with my markers, come up and pick them up or whatever. In that case, I'm going to use them as much as possible. If you're in a situation where you've got a lot of people around, well, to use a marker, you're just asking for a lot of aggravation. They're going to come in. Pick up your markers, do whatever. Okay, go and fish by your markers, but today I don't have that problem. So, whenever possible, use them. By using markers, you also establish a mental picture of what the bottom looks like. All right? As Buck has said, it may not be exactly as it is, but when I look at this section of the river now, I don't look at just the flat surface of the water. I look at, my mental picture is what's on the bottom. I've got a shallow flat, on one side, a shallow flat on the other side, and coming down the middle of it from the northeast to the southwest is the old channel. And that is the deepest water in the area, and that's the home of the fish. And you might think of it this way. This channel right here is very, very shallow. Okay, it's shallower than all this other water that I've been fishing. But it tells me that any fish coming downstream, they've got to pass through here, no matter how shallow it is. It's the deepest water in the area. So you can imagine they're coming down here, flat, real shallow, real shallow. Oh, here's the deep water. They're going to follow it through. If I want to pick off those fish, all I've got to do is relate all my efforts to this cut that goes through the shallow area. And that's my interpretation of the fishing situation right here. I've thrown out markers, I drew a map, and I came to an interpretation. And as you saw today, I caught fish. Well, I hope to catch a lot more. But for right now, I hope that that has helped you with your own mapping. As Buck said, mapping is the key. Oh yeah, he socked that thing. He socked that thing. Let's see what we got. Yeah, okay, fish. Yeah, he socked that. I'm sorry, this is a flathead. They like those spoon plugs, I'll tell you. They love them. Nice little flathead. And that fish came right from that little channel I mapped earlier. That's what it's all about, mapping. You see that? That's got to be another cat. That's another cat. They're right there. They are right there. Whew. They are right at the end of this slot. This looks like a channel cat. Man, he's going. Yeah, this one's a big one. That slot. There it is. It's a beautiful channel cat, and again on that spoon plug. Nice channel cat. He's a squawker. All right, let's see if we can anchor on those cats. Nice little walleye there. There's a fish. There he is. Yeah, there's one. That's a walleye. It's a big freaking walleye. No, it's not. It's a catfish. Nice cat. A cat on the cast. Yeah. And I just caught him by a whisker. I caught him. Yep, just by a whisker. Otherwise I would have lost him. Yeah, there's a fish. That's a walleye. Oh. There's a fish. That one's a small one. Little smallmouth. Is that one right behind the boat or what? Right from that channel I just mapped. Huh? Absolutely. Well, it's been another good day working out here on the river. I really had some fun. Caught some catfish, some channel cats, caught a flathead cat, caught some smallmouth bass, and the bonus was catching that walleye. So we have bluebird conditions. The front just came through. Nighttime temperatures are dropping. The water temperature here, when I started the day, it was at 71. It's at 73 now. So it's dropped about 8 degrees in the last week. We are into the fall season. As a matter of fact, right now we're in the meteorological, you know what I mean, fall. So anyway, with these changing conditions, things being unstable, I was still able to catch some fish. Now, all I'm doing is following the Spoon Plugger's basic guidelines, and I hope you guys are all reading the Green Book, because Buck lays it out for us right there. Everything, lays everything out. And again, I want to thank Chase Kleinstecker, the CSI from Grand Rapids, Michigan, who took the time to write that article and describe what I found out here on this small river, what she calls a mid-sized river. Chase, again, everything you wrote about is right on the money. Perfect example is we had high winds today, all right? Didn't bother me at all. I'm down in a small valley protected by trees. No problem at all. Small rivers, mid-sized rivers, you said, they're not going to be crowded. Absolutely. There was nobody else out here today. A couple of kayakers, but that was it. I had a chance to throw some markers. I had a chance to do some mapping. And because of that mapping and the advice I got from Chase, I put some fish in the boat. So again, thank you, Chase. And most of all, thank you, Buck Perry. And remember, guys, you're watching this, but I'm out here catching them. You can't catch them watching a video. You catch them by being out here on the water. If you haven't read Chase's article that I put online, you could still catch it in the National Spoon Plugger in the, I believe it's the September-October issue. So again, guys, you can't catch them unless you're out here. So come on out and get them. But don't ever get too close to me, okay? Come out to your river, don't come out to my river. If you see me, go the other way. Catch you the next time.